Hello, I'm Coach Tyron. If you look at the views down below, that's how many people know what I'm about to teach you. Let's go. Now, open space is the key to possession, but before we can get into the meat and potatoes, we have to define some terms. Real possession is the game state when you or your team have multiple quality options that can be executed upon. Possession can be team-wide or just for an individual. Neutral possession is when you or your team can make a play first on the ball, but no outplay is available, or an outplay leads to a turnover of possession. Now, if you look at this video here, I get possession off of this kickoff. I have real possession here because I can outplay the opponent at any moment. Dribbles are so deadly because they allow you to get real possession, because you are able to outplay the opponent at practically any point. Real possession means that you have an outplay available at any point. Now, if you look at this clip, I have neutral possession. I can't actually do anything with the ball, even though I have the ball first. Here, I have neutral possession. As soon as I messed up my dribble, I have neutral possession. I no longer have real possession after I get this bad touch. Even though I'm technically first to the ball and technically have a slight advantage on what happens with the ball, I do not have any outplay or change in momentum available to me. I can only take the ball one place. I cannot outplay any challenge. That is neutral possession. Lost possession is when the opponents have possession. And if you look here, imagine that I'm orange. It's the exact same clip. For orange, this is lost possession, right? Because I'm his opponent and I have real possession. Simple enough. Now, empty space is a place on the field that nobody is currently occupying or covering. And this can overlap with lost space or open space, which I'll explain next. If you look at this picture here, you can see that there's empty space behind the opponent on the corner. There is empty space on the backboard. There is empty space on the field in front, and there's empty space in his corner. The only place that there's not empty space is directly where his car is. There's also empty space in the entire back half of the field. That is, empty space is just where nobody is. That is what empty space means. You can think of it as the ball is going to bounce on the ground before a player gets there. Now that you know what empty space is, let's define open space and lost space. Open space is a place on the field, usually empty or with a teammate, where you or your teammates can get to first with possession of the ball. Now, I know that sounds a little confusing. We'll go over some examples so it makes more sense. Lost space is the opposite of open space. It's a place on the field where the opponents can get to first with possession of the ball. If you look at the same picture, open space is not in his corner. Open space is not on the back wall. Open space here is on the ground or behind him, because this Tanya guy is going to be able to get to the ball if I hit it into his corner. That is lost space because he has momentum in that direction. The lost space is on the backboard here because he has momentum in that direction and he can get there first and get possession from it. Open space is behind him here. If I catch it and take it up the left wall, that's open space. If I let this bounce on the ground, that's open space. Open space is not where he can cover, not where he can get to first. Open space is where I can get to first with the ball and keep possession. And this also applies to my back half. Open space is everywhere in my back half here. If I catch this ball and take it back to my half, that is all open space. I can take the ball there and keep possession. Now that we've defined some terms, we can get into the actual meat and potatoes, the good stuff. This is the what to do pillars. This is what you should be thinking about and what you should be trying to do in game. You should be finding open space, creating open space, defending open space, boost management, and boost control. All very important. Let's first go over finding open space. Now, keep in mind, open space is everywhere on the field. You will have many options at any point of taking the ball to open space. Not everywhere is a good place to take it though. Open space is simply to keep possession. And a lot of the time, open space is going to be in your back half. Now, it's not always the best idea to go to your back half, but that is where open space is usually going to be. And if you're advancing the play downfield, the open space is going to be smaller or harder to detect. Now, open space is also predictive, and it gets more predictive and less reactive the higher rank you are. If you're looking at an opponent rotating back to get boost, that leaves open space behind him where he is currently, because he's not going to be there in 5 seconds because he's grabbing boost, so you can take the ball there. It's very predictive, and it will take time to actually find. If you're dribbling the ball and the opponent isn't challenging, you have a lot of open space. You can double jump that, you can take that into the air, you can take it back, you can create an angle, you can take it up the sidewall. There's so many options. The point is to find them. When you're playing with teammates in 2v2 or 3v3, open space is going to usually be with your team. Now, you can solo play the entire team by playing into open space and playing for possession, but that is very hard to do because you only have a certain amount of boost. Instead, you can just pass this ball to your teammate. And if your teammate is not being covered by an opponent, they likely have open space in front of them, and they can make a better play closer to the goal. Now, there's a lot of questions you can ask yourself in game to actually find open space. Some of them being, where are my teammates? Where are the opponents? What is this opponent driving to? Those sorts of questions. Just thinking about the actual state of the game in real time. Now, getting the ball to open space will come up later in the how to execute on these what pillars. I just want you, for now, to be thinking about how to find open space. And if we look at this picture again, now you can see the open space. Where is the momentum of the opponent? He is driving on the back wall. He is covering the backboard. He's going to be able to get to his other corner boost faster than I can. There's open space on the left, I can take it up the wall. There's open space on the right, I can take it midfield. There's open space directly in front where the ball currently is. And of course, there's open space in my back half. Now, what happens if there is no open space? For example, if your opponent shadows you perfectly, you're not going to be able to just take the ball around the opponent or just flick the ball, because the opponent is covering all that space. That is all lost space that you would be taking the ball into. So instead, you have to create open space. You have to create a lane for yourself to go to. You have to create a lane for you or your team to go to. And how you do this is you force the opponents to commit to covering one thing. And forcing this commit, it can be as simple as making them turn too far to the left or too far to the right, or speeding up a little too much or slowing down too much. As soon as they are not covering a lane, you have created open space, and now you can take that open space. Now here's a clip of me creating open space. Now as you can see, the opponent is shadowing me, and he's shadowing me pretty well. So I have to make him commit to covering one thing so I can go around him. And as you can see here, when I drop that ball, he thinks I'm going to be taking it to that side. So he stays just a little bit too long, and that opens up space behind him. I take it behind him and I score. I'm just forcing that little commit. Now, as we watch this clip again, I want to preface that creating open space, there are near infinite ways to do it. You flip resets, fakes, bounce dribbles, pogos, flicks, power slides, cuts. There's so many different ways to do it. The simple principle remains with all of them though, and that is forcing the opponent to cover one thing, and that opens up other space. Now, let's talk about defending open space. Dispossession is the key point. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you can dispossess them. It doesn't matter if you get dunked it on a 50 if the ball goes back to your team, because you dispossessed them. You got rid of their ability to shoot or create a dangerous situation for your team. You were able to dispossess them and get your team possession. And how you usually do this is you cover their shots. What I mean by this is it forces them to have to create open space in the situation. And if they don't create open space and they take it directly at the net and shoot it, you can just save it because you're covering their shot. And if you force them to create open space, that gives you a little window of which you can challenge. For example, in that previous clip of me creating open space, there might have been a little window for the opponent to get in the way or challenge because he was shadowing. And this works better in 2v2 and 3v3 or defending open space. In 1v1, it's a lot harder to defend open space. It's possible, but because you're only one player, you can't cover everything on the field, which makes it a lot harder to defend, but also a lot easier to exploit and score on. When you're defending, you should be trying to force their easy options and force them to go to a position that's easier to challenge from, easier for you or your team to challenge. Mirroring and shadowing are my favorite ways of defending open space. There's a lot of different ways to do it. In 2s and 3s, when you have teammates, it's better a lot of the time to just force and stagger the defense in a way to try to dispossess the opponents. There's a lot of different ways to do it. My favorite is mirroring or shadowing. I'll make a video on that eventually. Here's an example of me defending open space. As you can see here, I am covering his shot. If he shoots this ball at any point, he flicks that ball at any point, I have this save. Okay, I'm shadowing him perfectly here. I'm right behind the ball. No matter what he does here, if he flicks it, whatever he does, I have the save. Now, the last pillar of the what to do: boost management and boost control. Boost is essential in this game. Boost allows you to access space, both to defend and exploit. If you have 100 boost, you have so much more of the field that you can exploit than someone with 0 boost. Boost management is with yourself and your ability to manage your boost. Boost control is the ability to limit your opponent's boost and force them to be lower on boost, or force them to go out of position to get boost. Boost starving, with possession in mind, comes from off-ball plays. It does not come from from the forefront of your play. Your play should not be to take their boost. When you have possession of the ball, the play should not be you put the ball in empty space and then take their boost. That should not be your play. The play should be after your play is done and the ball gets to your teammate because you're keeping possession, then you can take boost or starve them or demo or whatever. Boost starving with possession comes from off ball, not on ball. Boost starving is less useful than possession in front of the opponent's net. Imagine you have 100 boost in net defending a shot from an opponent with 0 boost. Which player would you rather be? Would you rather be the opponent defending in net with 100 boost? Or would you rather be that person taking the shot with 0? Most people would pick the person with 0 boost because it's just such a more favorable position. And even if you miss, you have a chance to get the ball or stall time and not immediately concede. Whereas the person in net is at the mercy of whatever shot you put on. If you make a perfect play, they cannot save the ball. And it's going to be a goal for you. So possession will give you a better outcome than focusing on boost starving. Now let's get into pillars of how you do these things. Mechanics are the ability to change the momentum of the ball. If you have very good mechanics, you are going to be able to change the ball direction at any point. If you have really good flick mechanics, then you're going to be able to change the momentum of the ball from flicks. If you have really good flip reset mechanics, then you're going to be able to change the momentum of the ball from flip resets. Mechanics are your ability to change the momentum on the ball. Your car's momentum is your access to space. If you have a lot of momentum, you have access to way more space than someone with no momentum. But do not confuse this with trying to be faster than everyone off ball. A lot of players make this mistake. They hear, oh, I need to be fast. So they try to be the fastest in the lobby off ball. This is completely wrong. When you're off ball, you want to be in the right position, but at the same time, the same momentum as the play. This applies if your teammates have possession or if the opponents have possession. You want to be matching the same speed as the play. You do not want to be faster or slower than the play because you will put yourself in really bad situations and really bad positions. And the how is useless without the what. If you have perfect mechanics, but you do not play possession, and you just slam the ball from your back corner, and it goes top right every time, you're a perfect shot, but you shoot it from your back corner every time, and both the opponents are in nets, they're always going to have a save. They're always going to get possession off that and be able to advance the play downfield and put a more dangerous shot on your net. The what is also useless without the how. If you know how to do everything, but you're a silver, or you're brand new to the game, you are not going to be able to execute on any of the whats. Now here's an example of me being too fast. As you can see, I'm very fast with my car, but that puts me out of position. It puts me too far deep, and then when I'm coming back for the challenge, I'm still too fast, and I go past the play and I can't get a good 50. This entire play, the reason he scored from this is because I was way too fast. I was not matching the momentum of the play at all. I was just trying to be fast. With the ball, having your car be really fast is important. It allows you to be able to outplay opponents and give yourself more options. But off ball, You want to be the same momentum as the play, just in the right position. Use your speed to get into that position and then slow down to the momentum of the play, or speed up to the momentum of the play, however fast it's developing. If you look at this play right here, I have way too low speed. I don't speed up as he's speeding up. Okay? I am way, way, way too slow here. And that is why I get scored on. He just flicks it over me because I'm taking forever to get into the right position. If you look here, I'm way too fast and I drive past the play. And in which case, he can just drop the ball and power shot it past me because I'm way out of the play. I give him a free shot on my net by being so far away. To wrap things up, be careful. Your decision making is going to be slow when you're thinking about all of open space and keeping possession at any point. You are going to be overthinking every single position. You are going to be super slow with whatever decision you make because you're going to be overthinking. And this shines a light on one of the massive issues with possession. It's a fragile play style. If you do it perfectly, nobody will ever be able to beat you because you will always have possession. You always determine the outcome of what happens. But if you make a mistake and you aren't that perfect player, you can get dunked and you can get shit on. So it's a fragile play style, but very, very, very high skill ceiling. To counteract this, when you're first learning, you should be using simple default methods in every position. You should be thinking to yourself, when you have control over the ball on the ground, what are you going to do? Just flick it when he gets close. You should be thinking, when you have the possession, you're going up the sidewall, oh, I'm just going to air dribble it and 50 it to my teammate. You should not be trying to think actively in the play right now about all the different options. You should be thinking, as soon as you get that 50, you're off the ball, like, oh, I should have popped it over the top of him, or I should have gone for a flip reset here because it would have gone over him, and then my teammate was on the other side ready for that pass anyway. Think about open space and what you should have gone for after the play. Do not think about it during the play. Have a simple default play that you are going to make with the ball. Do not overthink it, because your decision making is going to be very slow when you're thinking about all this. Here's an example of me having really, really slow decision making. Now, if you look at this, I can flick the ball over him and it's going to be a goal. But I'm so worried about getting the ball to open space. I'm so worried about taking this ball past him and keeping possession, I don't flick it, even though that's open space over him. I'm just thinking way too much. So to counteract that, you just need to have some simple default methods. And if I was thinking, if I have the ball, I'm just going to flick it in that position, I wouldn't have to worry. Now, for what's next on this channel, I'm going to be doing replay reviews. If you want your replay reviewed, let me know in the comments and I'll reach out to you. I'm going to be doing solo queue 1s, 2s, and 3s, explaining what people are doing that's very good and what people are doing that's very bad, and why things work and why things don't work. I'm going to do one-on-one coaching sessions on this channel with viewers or other players. I'm doing coach battles, which I'll let you know. That's going to be really fun. It's basically, I'm going to be taking a plat, teaching them for like an hour on how to 1v1 and how to win, teach them everything, and another coach will teach another plat how to play, and then we set the plats up against each other to see who's the better coach. As for what else, let me know in the comments below. I would love to get some ideas from you all. Thank you all for watching, and welcome to the community of Learned Tires.